and I want to apologize to the trans community and to Anne.
Oh, that's
so hold on. So okay. So again
nice.
and again, like, you know, this is not a conversation. Let her have the show. I don't care. But the double standard is unbelievable.
Exactly. There's no one could get a show.
Typical liberal double standard. This woman, and let's be honest, why do you think she gets why do you think she has a show? Why?
Because of where she went to college.
Because she's black and she's a woman. Like, how about, and you talk about frauds and just inconsistency and bullshit. Joy Reid, who blogged so much horrendous shit. I tweeted you that this morning, Steve. Did you get? I texted you that. Did you get it? 1 second. Don't play it yet. I just texted you before we started. So just give you a little Joy. So Joy Reid is getting Chris Matthews' old job. Remember, Chris Matthews got bounced for sexual harassment,
right? Which they never really mentioned, which was odd.
Didn't he leave in the middle of the show?
Yeah, he did his first segment and then he got up and left.
How weird is that still?
It's weird, that they gave him a last segment.
Right, that's true.
Like, imagine if Matt Lauer's final Today Show.
Well, he was kind of like O'Reilly in a way, where he had such a loyal audience of old baby boomers, and his billing was high, and they put up with him for a very, very long time. And there was never any like smoking gun.
Well, the difference, right?
The producers always took the settlement.
But did O'Reilly do like a final show?
No. Well, the big difference between the two is that while that's true, O'Reilly's numbers and billing was bigger, and his crimes were, I think, a little more extreme.
Yes.
We're talking.
A lot of the Chris Matthews stuff was, he made an inappropriate comment, or he was a dickhead boss. O'Reilly was like,
well, we're talking like rape, sexual harassment, like real shit.
Right, but then with if you're gonna let Chris Matthews on, then we're grading them. So then when I defend these people, and it's like, oh, you're a rape apologist, it's like that's kind of what they're doing with.
Well,
Chris
it's different
Matthews.
to say that somebody looks nice in the skirt than yanking that skirt and raping them. I think I find it to be a little different. But either way, so he's out. Joy Reid is in, and you say, okay, who's Joy Reid? Well, Joy Reid's the one with the blog post from years ago. Well, not that far ago. There's a blog post.
She had her own website when she was covering Florida politics,
right, in the
2000s.
mid to late 2000s. So Charlie Crist, for example, who's long been rumored to be gay, the former governor. There was an HBO documentary that said he was, all this stuff. I have no idea if he is or not, nor do I care. She named him Miss Charlie, then claimed he only married a woman for political purposes. She made derogatory remarks about gay people, claiming that most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing, and that adult gay men tend to be attracted to very young, post-pubescent types. Does that make me homophobic, she writes? Probably. Instead of apologizing for the resurfaced blog post, Reid at first denied she posted them all together. In a statement she made at this time, she said, "The blog posts are the work of hackers and the part of an effort to taint my character with false information by distorting a blog that ended a decade ago." Now, somebody went and acknowledged it. I mean, did an investigation, and it's so clearly her. It's not even like...
Well, no. Time-traveling hackers. They traveled back in time and edited the homophobic things in the 2000s when no one knew who Joy Reid was.
Correct. Reid herself acknowledged the skepticism on her show on Saturday. When a friend found the post in December and sent it to me, I was stunned. Frankly, I couldn't imagine where they'd come from and whose voice that was. In the months since, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sense of these posts. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if someone had manipulated my words in my former blog, and the reality is they have not been able to prove it. Do we have that? Do we have the second part of it?
Her apology.
Yeah.
Joy. A community that I support and that I deeply care about is hurting because of some despicable and truly offensive posts being attributed to me. Now, many of you have seen these blog posts circulating online and in social media. Many of them are homophobic, discriminatory, and outright weird and hateful. When a friend found them in December and sent them to me, I was stunned. Frankly, I couldn't imagine where they'd come from or whose voice that was. In the months since, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sense of these posts. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if somebody had manipulated my words or my former blog.
This is a tremendous defense.
And the reality is they have not been able to prove it.
Gets better.
But here's what I know.
Here we go.
I genuinely do not believe I wrote those hateful things. It's completely alien to me. But I can definitely understand, based on things I have tweeted and have written in the past, why some people don't believe me.
Well, that's nice of her.
I'm not exempt from being dumb or cruel or hurtful to the very people I want to advocate for. I own that. I get it. And for that, I am truly, truly sorry. I had a conversation the other day with a friend who's also an advocate in the LGBTQ community
Also
in
an advocate,
Florida.
like her, right?
He took me to task for my tweets mocking Ann Coulter using transgender stereotypes.
She sure did, by the way.
I apologize to my friend, and I want to apologize to the trans community and to Ann.
Oh, that's
So hold on. So okay. So
Very
again
nice.
and again, like this is not a conversation. Let her have the show. I don't care. But the double standard is unbelievable.
Exactly. There's no one could get a
Typical
show.
liberal double standard. This woman, and let's be honest, why do you think she gets? Why do you think she has a show?
Well,
Why?
I'd rather
Because of
not
where
say.
she went to college.
Because she's black and she's a woman. Like that is the. It's
obvious.
That's the. I mean, like we're fucking kidding here. I mean, I hate to sound like Dave Portnoy, but I mean, but that's who's he talking about? Brandon.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the reality. They're afraid. It's once again, white guilt, as opposed to saying this. By the way, I bet you there's 50 women, black women, white, who would do this job better. Great, hire them. Instead, this thing that would ruin anybody's career if they found these old things where she's making fun of the transgender community, gay people. She tweets out. Let me see this one here. The idea of heterosexuals, especially men, find the idea of homosexuals to be, well, gross. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's
Also an advocate, just like
he's an advocate.
If you took any white male who had tweeted things like those 10 years ago and then gave him a spot on Fox, OAN, Newsmax, any of those, MSNBC would be right at the front of the line trying to organize the boycott, going after advertisers. Rachel
This woman
Maddow
is
would be
on the
holding them
show
up.
every day, weighing in on stuff. On Thursday, this is from a couple years ago, BuzzFeed surfaced a post that contained an image of John McCain's head photoshopped on the body of the Virginia Tech shooter.
So she can apologize and move on, but like Tucker Carlson is a racist.
Yeah, I mean, who's a racist here? Who's a homophobe? Like
Right.
what? But no advertiser will go after her. Nobody will do anything because she's black.
Only
right?
lefties can evolve.
Isn't that crazy? To me, that's actually racist. Like, treat everyone equally.
So and now somebody like KFC will come in and be like, oh, well, now you're trying to engage in cancel culture.
trying to
But no,
cancel.
Absolutely not. I
we're
just
trying
said.
to point out that cancel culture
Inconsistency.
goes one way.
Correct.
It's a tool of people on the left who are in power and they use against us, and we're using irony to point that out.
The strange
Fucking
thing
idiot.
is, like when Dave talked about Brandon Newman, he was pretty honest. He was like, "We're trying to diversify, and there's guys that I could have hired that I think are more talented, but we hired Brandon because he's black." But they also don't celebrate. They don't go, "Look at who we hired. Look at this great hire we had."
Right.
Whereas MSNBC celebrates the first female black anchor in nightly news and
by the way-
celebrates it, but then won't admit that it was a diversity hire.
This
She's
woman
not
tweets
an
out.
anchor.
This woman tweets out that she couldn't even. This woman wrote in the blog post she couldn't even watch Brokeback Mountain. It was so gross.
Well,
It's like, again, she's just a fraud, and she's gonna get this job, and no one's gonna care, and like they'll say it's great, and these, where were the MSNBC other anchors when this story broke? Where was Maddow? Where was Matthews? Where was Hayes? Where was O'Donnell? Why weren't they outraged? Why weren't they offended? Because they're afraid it's white guilt. That's all it is. And this woman is, obviously a homophobe and has horrible thoughts in her head. Fine, let her have her show. But now she pretends to be this like leader. It's so fucked up. It's bizarre.
Well, I'm sure if Dale's homophobic tweets were discovered when you were doing the morning show on EI, you wouldn't have talked about them.
No, never. Or if I had them, I'm sure they wouldn't talk about. I mean, like really, like. And this isn't even this is like fucked up shit. She has one where she tells people to watch a documentary that she thinks that the government was responsible for 9/11. She's fucking crazy. Like, that's the thing. Maybe she should be a good host.
sophomoric shit too. It's not. It's like, okay, that might have been funny when we were in high school.
also, you don't even have to do the thing. Imagine if someone tweeted the opposite of this. Imagine if just a white guy tweeted exactly what she said. It's not the opposite stance. It's literally what she's saying.
I should be fair. It's actually not let's just say Candace Owens had this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. The destroyer. MSNBC said, and you want to give them credit because we always kill these places. This is not reflective of the colleague and friend we have known MSNBC for the past 7 years. Joy has apologized and says she has grown and evolved many years since, and we know this to be true.
So I'll move on.
It is crazy.